Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time joining, thank you and welcome. If you are a returning subscriber or you are coming from a previous channel, or excuse me, a previous video on my channel, welcome back. In today's video, I will be going over something new that I will be working on. I really want to work on a new video series. And what that video series is going to be based on is English paper piecing. I found this great book at my local library, and I will get into this just a little bit more in just a second. I have seen a lot of videos on YouTube, on some of the quilting groups I belong to, and a lot of people really enjoy English paper piecing. And some people will call it patchwork, hand-sewn patchwork. There's many different names that English paper piecing can go by. It is also known as EPP, which is English paper piecing. And what it is a slow, relaxing, oops, there's Luna, our crafty kitty, coming in to investigate. She's going to play with the templates. What are those? Okay, come on. Let's go. She is the channel mascot. If you are familiar with my videos, you will have seen Luna before. If not, she likes to be involved in everything I do in my sewing room. So let me have those, honey. We're going to move you aside. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, as I was saying, English paper piecing is a slow, relaxing technique. It can be labor intensive depending on the project that you are choosing to make. You can do projects as small as a hand-sewn zipper bag, zipper pouch. You can do, let's see if I can find the photo in the book here. You can do like this. You can make small coasters. Whatever you decide to make, you can basically create your own fabric by piecing hexagons. You can make purses, tote bags, pillows, and then you can go and really get labor intensive and make a quilt. And yes, a quilt is where a lot of the labor intensive term comes in, because you are making a quilt with small pieces. This is a 1-inch hexagon, so you can imagine how long it would take you to make a quilt. Don't let that discourage you in getting into English paper piecing, because when I first saw some of the people on my YouTube videos, or on my YouTube channels that I follow, and some of my quilting groups that I follow on Facebook, talking about English paper piecing and hand piecing, I was thinking, oh my God, that's going to take forever. And that really discouraged me, honestly discouraged me. But then when I just kind of cut a few little pieces out and I started trying to work on it, I really decided that, hey, I like this. This is going to be really kind of fun to me. It is a quiet, relaxing project that you can basically take anywhere with you. You can do it in your car. You can, if you're on a road trip, you can piece in your while in your car, sitting in a doctor's office waiting, watching a kid's sporting event, anything like that. It's actually very easy and can be done anywhere. And as we work through the videos, I'm going to start with a basic history of English paper piecing. Then we will get into the very basics and then work on supplies that you can eventually purchase over time, or if you, many of these you may already have in your sewing room, and you'll realize that you won't have to purchase additional supplies for it. So, okay, but before we get to the basics of English paper piecing, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history. And I learned some of the history by going through this particular book and by watching some videos on YouTube. I first got this book from the library when I knew that I wanted to get into English paper piecing a little bit more. I am not sponsored by this author at all, but what I just really like this book and everything that it goes into. This book goes, it covers all your basics. Then it also shows you how you can incorporate different shapes. It shows you how you can draft your own shapes. How you can break up a hexagon and turn it into other things, and combining different shapes. Even if it's just like half hexagons, you can do, you can do many things with those. And I will be using a lot of the things in this book as we go through this video series. When I did check the book out from the library, I learned quickly that I wanted to purchase it myself. And I did buy this from Amazon. And I'm going to pause the video just a moment, and I'm going to let Luna the crafty kitty out of my room. Give me just a moment. Okay, sorry about that. Luna wanted out of the room. She hears Cat Dad in the kitchen, so she thinks she's going to get something. Okay, so like I was saying, I had found this book at the library, and I learned quickly that I wanted to have my own copy of it. So I purchased it on Amazon. It was $19.99 on Amazon, and I kind of shopped around a little bit, and you can buy them used for about half that price. Some other places I've seen they're as high as $25, but I would highly recommend this book. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by this author at all. I just really like this book. With all the information that's in it, in my opinion, it's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to start with some of the, before we get into more of the basics and things. I learned that flipping through the first section of this book, it tells you, a little basics, tools and materials, but then it goes over a little bit of the history on where it came from. And what I learned is that English paper piecing dates back to the late 1700s, and when it was called hexagon quilting, hence the main shape was hexagons. And it was very, very popular in England at that time. They were also called honeycomb quilts due to the shape of being honeycombs. And you can see, like, when you start piecing the pieces together, that it does form kind of like the honeycomb shape. You can see. And basically what it was first used for was a way to use up your scraps. So a lot of people did, before the invention of sewing machines, a lot of, everything was hand sewn. And you had a lot of scraps, and what it was, people found a way to be able to use those scraps, and they made honeycomb quilts. They are also called mosaic quilts or six-sided patchwork, hence the six-sided on your hexagon. Okay, and let me see if I can flip through here and find one of the... Okay, so here's a great picture. Where'd it go? Okay, so if you can see this picture here, you can see that it's done in like the colors, but it is all made up of hexagons. And you can see that there. And it was a way for them to use up their small pieces of scrap fabric and create something usable. And I've got some notes here, so you may hear me flipping through a little bit. The methods that they used back then are very similar to what are used today, which is you're just going to baste a piece of fabric over a template, a paper template. And I have two different types of templates here that I prefer to use. This is made out of cardstock, and I just bought a pack of regular cardstock from Walmart. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, it's the same cardstock, just basic white cardstock that I use for when I make my machine embroidery gift cards. So it's just a nice kind of stiff cardstock. Another common template material is, I forgot the name of it, is like butcher paper or freezer paper, where it is just paper on one side and then you've got a shiny side. And you can use the shiny side down on the fabric and press it with an iron, and the template will stick to the fabric. So those are the two that I like to use. So that's basically what you're doing, is you are taking a template of paper and you're going to baste a piece of fabric around it. And hexagon patterns became one of the most popular patchwork techniques in England by the 1830s. And by that time, it started spreading quickly to America, and that was by the late 1830s. And in America, there was a popular magazine called Godey. It's Godey apostrophe S, pronounced Godey's Ladies Book. And by 1835, I believe the year was, it had a pattern. It was the first ever pattern of a hexagon quilt, for the pattern that was shared in a magazine. And so, and that was the first time that that a hexagon quilt was in a magazine. So, and then by that time, Americans considered that everything was British English, was really posh and exciting, and so that's one of the reasons why it spread so quickly in America, due to that English influence of it being considered. Okay, I'm getting off track. Sorry. It was everything English and British was considered to be fancy. So Americans wanted to emulate that. So that is when English paper piecing, the technique, became popular in America, and that was in 1835. The earliest hexagon quilts were made by using many different fabrics that were, like I mentioned, great for using up your small scraps. One of the most popular patterns was called Grandma's Flower Garden, and I'm going to try to find okay. So this is Grandma's Flower Garden, And you can see that it was just like a hexagon flower, and it was typically done with either a green border around the flower or a white border around the flower, and those were called garden paths. So you would walk around the path to see the flowers. So that was one of the most popular patterns back in that time. English paper piecing didn't just stop with that pattern. Creative artists soon arranged their hexagons into many other shapes, like strips, where you would take your pieces and you would just sew them together in your strips, and you could lay them out any which way you wanted. You could do them in patterns. You could, of course, like mix them all up. Then they also did them in diamond shapes and in many other forms. So in your diamond shapes, you would take 3 or 4 across the bottom. Then you would take, let's get a blue one over here. We need a white one there. Okay, let's go with a stripe there. And again, like a blue one at the top. So they would form like diamond shapes with them, and then sew those together, and then put like borders around them, or just continue with another diamond shape, putting it on, and connecting them all together. So there was many different ways for them to create different designs with hexagons. There are also later they started developing where they did a half hexagon, where they took the template and they divided the template from the widest point in half. So they would actually get a half hexagon. So when they were putting their pieces together, you could get a straight edge, like so. So they would figure out how to create some straight edges. So there were many different ways to put the hexagons together. And then eventually what they did is they figured out that they could divide a hexagon into many different shapes, or combining half hexagons with diamonds or things like that. So then by the late 1800s, sewing machines became super popular, and it was English paper piecing and quilting changed and was much more a labor-intensive care compared to sewing machines. So it kind of dropped out of popularity for a little while, but to this day it's very popular still. And it is considered to be a goal to quilters to create a English paper piecing quilt in their lifetime. There are some fantastic YouTubers out there that will show you how to do English paper piecing. And of course, I'm not the only one, but the way I want to show you is I'm going to show you from a very beginner's standpoint on how to do English paper piecing. So in the next video, I think what I will show you is we will go over your very, very basic supplies, and then I will show you a little bit more on more supplies that you can get over time. I hope you liked this little video, and I hope you are intrigued as I am. This is going to be really fun. I'm not sure how long this series of videos will run. we will kind of put some other videos in here and there to kind of break everything up. And so far, if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. And as always, if you do not want to leave a comment down below, you can email me at jsnc18@gmail.com. And I also will be sharing my Amazon link down in the description box. And if anybody would like to gift me any items, please don't think that you have to. But these videos do get they can be expensive to get your supplies, things like that. And if anybody would like to gift me anything, or maybe just collaborate with me, you can email me. And again, at that link, I will be sharing my Amazon wish list of the supplies that I use for my channel. That includes my quilting supplies, embroidery, machine embroidery supplies, things like that. So again, if you have any questions, either comment down below, or you can email me again at jsnc18@gmail.com. Okay, hope you all stick around for the next video. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.